Hey everyone, welcome to a brand new episode of Mainstream Mondays. Today I'm talking about Kevin Bacon in Death Sentence. So we'll be talking about production, cast, critical response, my thoughts on the film, and all that. So I hope you'll stick around. Later this week, I'm going to be having Strange Invaders tomorrow on Cult Movie Tuesdays. And then on Friday, I'm first time watching Descent Part 2. So be sure to tune in for that. But today we're talking about Death Sentence. Have you seen this movie? I think a lot of people did not see this movie. I think this one could have easily fit into Cult Movie Tuesdays. I chose it for today because it is kind of more of a mainstream movie. It's from the director of Saw. What's his face there? James Wan, of course, and starring Kevin Bacon. So this movie is a vigilante thriller from the year 2000. It was directed by, as I mentioned, James Wan, who was the co-creator of not only the Saw franchise, but also the Insidious franchise, as well as the creator of the Conjuring franchise. So James Wan is a busy fella, and he's got a lot of pretty good ideas, I guess. I just actually rewatched the first Conjuring the other night, and I don't know if it held up that well for me compared to like the first time I saw it, but still, he does do some pretty creepy movies. This is not a horror movie. This is, like I said, this is a vigilante thriller. So this movie stars Kevin Bacon. Of course, a lot of you know him from Friday the 13th. That was his first, I think that was his first acting gig. And then he went on, of course, to do Footloose and Hollow Man and a whole bunch of other movies. This also stars Garrett Hedlund, who was in Tron Legacy, as well as the film Pan, which I've never actually seen. Kelly Preston is in here, who was also in Christine, Jack Frost, not the horror movie. She was John Travolta's wife until she passed away in 2020. So rest in peace, Kelly Preston. And this also stars in a really weird role, John Goodman, who was, of course, in The Big Lebowski. He was one of the voices in the Monsters, Inc., and I thought he was really good in Kong Skull Island. I didn't expect to see him pop up in there, but there he was. The synopsis for this movie is Nick Hume, played by Kevin Bacon, is on his way home from a hockey game with his son Brendan and stops for gasoline. Helplessly, he sees a street thug kill Brendan while robbing the station. Believing the justice system will fail him, Nick goes after the killer himself, setting off a war between him and the killer's older brother, played by Garrett Hedlund. The production for this film, the film is loosely based on the 1975 novel of the same name by Brian Garfield, although the novel is actually a sequel to Garfield's Death Wish, which was turned into a movie in the 70s with Charles Bronson. The film is unconnected to the previous Death Wish film series. Yeah, so it was a sequel to the novel, but not to the film series, if I'm reading that right. Brian Garfield, author of the original novel Death Wish, was disappointed with the 1974 film adaptation and subsequently wrote the sequel, 1975's Death Sentence. In 1980, he was hired by the Cannon Group to write a film adaptation of Death Sentence. So obviously it took quite some time for this to actually come to fruition. The film Death Sentence was shot in about 2 months. The filming locations included Columbia, South Carolina, and Los Angeles. The first few drafts of the script were written by Brian Garfield, the author of the original novel Death Sentence. The film was shot in 2 months. The budget was $10 million and the box office was $17 million. So I don't think this got, I don't know what happened. If memory serves me correctly, this came out around the same time as something else, like another big movie. I'm trying to think what that would be. But this one just kind of flew under the radar, I think, for a lot of people. And I think I'm going to get to this in a minute, but I think this has not received a Blu-ray or 4K. I think this is the only way you can watch this movie. The critical reception to this movie was not good either. It currently holds a 20% on Rotten Tomatoes, which kind of surprises me a little bit. Roger Ebert called Death Sentence, quote-unquote, very efficient, praising a, quote, a courtroom scene of true surprise and suspense and some other effective moments, unquote, but concluded that, quote, basically this is a movie about a lot of people shooting at each other, unquote, which isn't untrue. I mean, it is a vigilante revenge thriller, so There's obviously going to be violence and people shooting at each other. But yeah, this movie did not get a good reception when it came out. Now, this was a first time watch for me, Death Sentence with Kevin Bacon. And I had heard like a lot of people talk about this movie and say this movie was really, really good and that it was like underappreciated. I did find this at a thrift shop a couple months ago, and I finally sat down and had a chance to watch it. And I honestly thought this was a great sort of vigilante thriller. At first, I wasn't sure about Kevin Bacon because in the beginning of the movie, he's like an insurance adjuster or something, like or like a risk assessment manager, and he's in a suit and tie and he's working in an office. And then when the bad stuff happens to him and he decides he's gonna get his revenge, he shaves his head and he goes he's really quite haunting in this film. This is a very violent movie. Like, I did recently review the film Nobody, like the Death Wish series that was in the 70s and 80s. These kinds of movies aren't for everyone. That's just a fact. I like vigilante stories. I think like revenge stories. I like those. And I thought this one was quite well done. The acting was quite good. Kelly Preston really wasn't in it very very much, from what I recall. And John Goodman's in here as like the bad guy's father, I think it is, and he's like an arms dealer in this like weird bunker place, and I don't know if he totally carried the part off. I would say that was probably one of the weaker points for me, but Kevin Bacon I thought was great in this film. You really saw that crossover from like I'm just the normal guy that's going to work to like I'm going to buy a bunch of guns and kill people. The switchover is quite creepy, and the mood of the film is quite haunting. And I thought Kevin Bacon really carried it quite well. I didn't think that I was going to be able to buy him as like a bad guy, but some other people who watch my channel have left comments suggesting some other movies that I watch of his where I guess he is kind of a bad guy. I think Hollow Man maybe he was, but I always think of him as like the cute teenager in Friday the 13th or in Footloose or those kinds of movies. So to see him like really lose his stuff and go crazy in this film was pretty wild. I was like, good for you, Kevin Bacon. So I would recommend this movie if you like, obviously, if you like vigilante thrillers, revenge thrillers. If you want to see Kevin Bacon sort of taking on a different kind of persona, it's interesting to watch him in this film. The ending is pretty dark. I won't give it away, obviously, but it's a very, very dark film. And like Roger Ebert said, there's a lot of lots of shooting and lots of dying. So, but I would recommend this movie, and I can't believe this has not gotten a Blu-ray or a 4K or anything, that this is just trapped in DVD purgatory for the meantime. But I bet this will get picked up by one of the boutiques eventually. Yeah, so that's my thoughts on Death Sentence. Did you see this movie? Did you not see this movie? Do you like this movie? Do you not like this movie? This is the DVD version, as I said. This came out in 2007 from 20th Century Fox. It's a pretty bare bones. This is the unrated version. There's the inside with Kevin Bacon with his shotgun, looking pretty ominous. This includes the unrated version with never before seen footage. So I did not see this in the theater, so this is the only version I know. So I guess the unrated version. The special features are both theatrical and unrated movie versions. So I guess if I did want to watch the theatrical version, it is on here. Fox Movie Channel presents Making a Scene. Fox Movie Channel presents Life After Film School with Kevin Bacon, and Behind the Scenes Webisodes. There's a word you don't hear anymore, webisodes. But yeah, I would recommend this movie if you're just looking for a good actioner, good thriller, good vigilante film. Pretty good acting for the most part, although, like I said, John Goodman seemed sort of oddly out of place in this movie. But I think this just, I don't know, it's like a victim of circumstance. And like I said, maybe something else came out around this time that kind of blew it out of the water. But yeah. This movie is presented in widescreen, 240:1. This is from 2007. It is in color. It's rated R in Canada for strong, bloody, brutal violence and pervasive language. But I think it's rated 16 in Quebec. They usually go a little softer on these things. I'm trying to find a runtime. Oh, the rated version is 106 minutes, and the unrated version is 111 minutes. So you get 5 more minutes of gore. Not gore, but like violence. Although I'm sure there's some gore in there. But so that's my thoughts on Death Sentence. Let me know if you saw this movie. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Is this another one of these? I think for a lot of people, this just went under the radar, and the DVD. I don't know how common it is to find this. I don't see this out and about a lot when I'm thrifting, but I think, again, like a lot of people just miss this. You can currently rent this on Google Play, Apple TV, and YouTube. I did not see it streaming anywhere for a subscription or for free. So go check this out if you like those kinds of movies, and let me know your thoughts on this film in the comments below. Consider giving me the thumbs up if you like this review. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. I am now... I want to say I'm at 460 subscribers, so thank you to everybody who has recently subscribed. You're amazing, and thank you for your support and your comments and your thumbs up and all that jazz. And honestly, some of my reviews are actually getting a lot of views, which is cool, and some like unexpected, like Nobody, which I reviewed last Monday, got hardly any views, but then Splatter University got like a whole bunch of views. So it's hard to determine what people want to see, but I know the horror and the cult horror stuff is most popular. But this new series, Mainstream Mondays, I just kind of reiterate, this is like more big budget movies, more Hollywood kind of movies. As where Cult Movie Tuesdays, I explore cult movies, and Fright Fridays, I explore horror movies on any level. It can be big budget or no budget or whatever. But this new one, Mainstream Mondays, today, I'll be talking more about like movies that don't fit in the other categories. Although that said, this could easily fit into Cult Movie Tuesdays because I think it's just not a very well-known movie. But anyway, that's my thoughts on Death Sentence. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you for watching, and until next time, I will see you at the video store or at the thrift store or just out and about somewhere, but hopefully not being hunted by Kevin Bacon. Unless he just wants to hunt me down and give me a hug, that would be fine. Until next time, take good care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.